welcome to Conquering Mount Scrapmore with Brenda. I'm Brenda, and I have Micheline from Americana Quilting here as my guest today. We're going to have some fun chat. Hey, Micheline, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, good, good. I was kind of looking forward to doing this chat. I was
Oh, I
like,
have been too. I have been too. I know we started off, we were going to do it when you were still in Tucson, and then I realized that the time difference would put me getting out here at like 10 a.m., 10 in the evening to do this. And I was like, nope, can't stay up that late.
I know it was just because we were trying to pick days and everything. It was just like, oh, this is some things. Sometimes you have to just wait for good things to happen, right?
That's right. That's right.
Now, if you're part of my Facebook group, Micheline is also part of that group, and she puts up some wonderful posts every once in a while. They're just awesome. And we were chatting about one of her posts, and we decided, no, let's introduce her to my viewers, and I'm being introduced to her viewers. That'll be a lot of fun too.
Yes.
So we're gonna start this interview, right? I mean, so what do you have up and coming on your channel?
Um, I want to do a few different things. I want to start, um, right now, the way we work it is now I'm tongue-tied.
Okay.
The way I work my videos right now is I'm heavy on the tutorials regarding the piecing of it, but I'd like to kind of broaden that where, okay, maybe on this video we work on showing you how to load the long arm machine and what we do on the long arm, or maybe now we're going to show you um, uh, how to bind it and do things like that. So a little bit different things like that. I'm also planning to start selling a little bit of fabric on my Wix page.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
yeah, I have bought some bundles of fabric from a company called Faust that does wholesaling, and it's local to me. So I go over there and I pick up these bundles. And you can also pick up scraps by the pound. It's so much fun. I know. So I've got these bundles of fabric, and I thought, a really smart way to make my money back on this bundle would be cut it up into some kind of pre-cut, make a project out of it, and then sell it on my website. So I think that'll be coming up soon too.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's especially too, like if you have some access to some really unique fabrics.
It is. It might be some of it might be older, but it is fun, fun, fun.
Yeah. There was only one store that I walked in, and that was in Green Valley where they sold scraps by the pound.
Uh-huh.
And I took a deep breath and I walked out of the room and I was just like, okay, don't hyperventilate, just keep breathing. You're walking away from the scraps.
I know it. Listen, they had huge huge cardboard boxes, like 48 inches wide and 48 inches deep, and you just have to get in there and just pull fabric out until you find what you want. It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I know. It's just that would be just anxiety because I hear them calling my name. Come get me. They're leaving me here. They
Don't
want
leave me by dig just a little bit more. Doesn't matter that your back is giving out. Get in that bin.
you mean they don't want me anymore.
Mhm,
It's so horrible.
mhm.
We've all loved scraps, right? We
Oh
all,
yeah.
but that's okay. When did you start quilting?
Hardcore a few years ago. I've always quilted, but hardcore probably a few years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, and what do you mean by hardcore? Where you go hours and hours and hours at a time, or
Making many, 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 many quilts. I had the opportunity to help somebody work on a project for a book. And it was taking antique quilts, like we're talking Civil War era quilts. A couple were earlier even than Civil War. And we'd take these old quilts and I would look at how it was constructed, and then I would make it into a new quilt. I would make a new quilt based on that.
Right.
And so the premise of the book is here's, this antique quilt and here's the new quilt created in its likeness. So I did 9 out of the 13 quilts for the book.
Wow.
And I long armed even more than that. And I wrote the patterns for 12 out of the 13 um, patterns in the book. So that was a lot of fun, and that really hooked me. Just that history of those old quilts and having them in my hand and looking at the poverty piecing and the all the really neat fabrics they used, and you're like, that was somebody's work shirt. I know it. So that was really fun and intense. It was an intense amount of work, but I loved every minute of it.
Yeah, it can become very addicting, especially if you love it. You learn to love it very quickly, with
Hmm.
the stories behind it and like I know that's why I love scraps, especially
Yeah.
people scraps, because it's
Hmm.
like you mix them in with your own and you kind of, wow, I wonder where this came from.
Hmm.
I got this is a scrap.
Uh-huh. Oh,
It's kind of like such a cute scrap, but
yeah.
okay, now what do I do?
What's the story behind it? Why did somebody give that up? Right now I'm finishing some hexagon hand pieced quilts for a customer. I've got two. One is finished and it's 1 inch hexagons and it's generational. It's 3 generations have worked on that quilt.
Oh
And
wow.
now I'm going to long arm it. I have to make some repairs first because there have been 3 generations of women working on this quilt, so it's old. And then the other one is about a 2 inch hexagon, and they just gave up. They said that's enough, we're not doing anymore. So I'm having to put a couple more rows of hexagons, hand piece those on there. So yeah, it's fun.
But okay, so we started quilting for whatever reason. What made you start a YouTube channel? Like, what was it? A little voice in your head that start this, start that? No.
Well, been several years that I've been watching YouTube. And you watch all these videos and you think, I could do that. I could help them learn how to do that. I wonder if somebody could learn from the way I say it, because that's why we all learn differently. And so sometimes watching a YouTuber, I don't really get the same thing out of it than when I say watch you, because you're just like my inspiration. You're a light bulb to me. Every time you put out a new one, I'm like, oh, I could do this with that, you know? So I obviously learn very well from the way that you do it. And I hope that I would be that way to other people too. But it took me a good year and a half to really watch YouTube and have that little seed of an idea going, do I want to do that? Do I want to do that? And of course, I thought maybe too, it would give some publicity to my long arm business as well. And I would start getting some quilts in that way. To be honest, I just need to go to the local guilds, but I'm such an introvert. I don't want, but I need to because that's where I'm going to get some business for that. But so that's that. It took a couple of years of studying YouTube and thinking of it until I finally one day started just recording myself on my phone just for myself, and it's kind of like, oh, this is cringeworthy. And I started getting a little bit of a banter and a little bit, and I started having fun with it, fun, I would just, it would be like somebody's coming into my workroom and I'm just talking to them. And I showed it to my daughter who edits all my videos, and she was like, Mom, that's really good. You maybe you should try this. So that's kind of the story of how and why I got started. Probably much like everybody else that started a YouTube video, kind of went, what? Why not?
Well, and it's nice that you have your cheerleaders in your family, right? That
I
are going,
do.
"Oh, Mom, go!" If
I
that's
do.
cool,
Yeah.
that's really neat.
Yeah.
Who is your favorite quilt person?
We've got the normal ones. Donna Jordan is the one that I really started watching the
Yeah.
very first of, and I mean, I wait with bated breath for when another video of hers comes out, because she's so genuine. And
Yeah.
I think that's where I connect with you too, because you're one of my favorites as well, because you're so genuine. And I feel that when I'm watching your channel. You love what you're doing, like I love what I'm doing. And I can tell that you're not being fake, you're not putting on an act for to be a YouTuber. You're genuine. Another one that I really like right now, of course, it's Missouri Star, but I tell you, Natalie and her mom both have gone through a transformation to become more healthy. And as Natalie has done that, you can see the confidence that has come over her when she talks on camera now. Before, it was kind of like, come on, Natalie, you can do it, you can do it. And now she's just blossomed. And that is so fun to see. And it's so fun to watch her now. She's got a lot of good ideas too.
Yeah, I know. One of the people that I liked Kay Woods, right?
Hmm.
For me, that I mean, I would sit and watch that with my mom and my grandmother, right? I mean, we'd watch Kay Wood, but Pat Sloan, I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
not only designs fabric, she designs
Hmm.
patterns, and
Hmm.
her stuff is cute. I mean, some of
Yeah,
it is
it
adorable,
really is.
right? You
It
know,
really is.
yeah, like those guys, kudos to those guys for being in part of the YouTube community for so long. I mean, and
Hmm.
inspiring people. What
Yeah.
when they're quilting a day? What was her name? The one with the boa. Ugh,
Yeah, you're asking the person that has the worst memory in the world for
oh,
names.
I know. Oh yeah, she also too. She also had a show where she was doing all these beautiful patterns, and she'd show people how to do stuff. I can't remember her name for. Oh, it's going to come to me at 4 o'clock this morning. I
That
just
wasn't the one that kind of revolutionized the chain piecing, was it? What was her name? I think I've seen something with her with a boa.
yeah, she would throw the scraps over her shoulder. Oh, I just yeah.
She
Look,
was fun, yeah. She or is fun, yeah.
yeah, yeah, like people are going. I can just see the viewers now. Her name is this.
I know, right? It's this.
They know who she is, but yeah, I know it's terrible,
And I
right?
used to have a note sitting around here because I wanted to look her up one time. I don't have the note anymore. I'm looking around for my note. I don't see it anywhere.
I know it's terrible. It's so bad. Okay, do you have any collaborations coming up or any so-longs or anything like that coming up on your channel?
I don't, but I'm interested in getting involved.
So you're open to having other YouTubers contact you
Oh
and
yeah.
hey, do
Yeah.
you do
The more the merrier. Yeah.
a thing? Yeah. Okay,
Hmm.
that's good to know. That's good to know. But you put it out there, you know. Like
That's right. Gotta put it out there.
I started putting out there that I would speak for free to quilting guilds and
Hmm.
quilting groups, right, over Zoom because I
Yeah.
had a PowerPoint presentation. You wouldn't believe how many speaking engagements I was doing. All of a
Nice.
sudden, I got to see the coolest quilts on their show and tell, and I got to chat with people. It was
Hmm.
beautiful. It was
Yeah.
what a great opportunity for me. Just
Yeah.
you gotta let it out.
The quilting community is a neat community. We are so welcoming to everybody in the quilting community. That's one of the things that's really fun to me.
Well, and there's so many different voices on
Hmm.
and there's room for all of the voices.
Yeah.
That's one thing that
Hmm.
people don't realize. There's room for all of the voices, right? It's
Hmm.
just this is the only way to do it. No, there's several ways to do many things
Right.
on quilting, right? And it's
Right.
yeah, there's room for all of it.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, look at my channel. I've got all these crazy dogs around me all the time. There's a lot of people that they don't want that. They don't want to see the dogs. And then there are a lot of people that they think that's really charming. And so yeah, there's room for everybody and everybody likes a little bit of something different.
Yeah, and I think I'm the only YouTuber that's hoping to film their mistake so I can show people how to
Oh,
correct
I do that. I do that. Yeah. I go, whoops.
dinner and you make a mistake and you don't know how to correct it.
It's nice to see that somebody else makes that same mistake and they're going to show you how to correct it.
Exactly, exactly. So now what can a viewer expect from your channel?
Right now, it's more heavily based on a tutorial of the piecing aspect of it.
Yeah.
I do a little bit of cutting and things like that, but do a heavy tutorial on the piecing, and I really have with that. The other thing they can expect to see is the dogs are going to entertain you. If you don't crack up in one of my videos, you don't have a sense of humor because those dogs can do the silliest things. And of course, I work with them all day long because I have a drapery workroom.
Yeah.
So they're up under my feet all day long. And hopefully they'll get to enjoy just some fun and learn some things from me.
Yeah, we were filming today. Actually, it's our first. We were doing our first three videos for Blue Monday. That's a I don't know. It's kind of an up and coming thing on my channel, right? Blue Monday
Mhm.
and Albert, our cat. Meow, 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 meow. It's like, oh, somebody feed him. Do
Oh
something.
yeah. If I'm quilting on camera at 5 o'clock, forget about it. The dogs are going to come and interrupt and bark and bark and bark. And I just have to say, okay, I'll be right back. I got to go feed the dogs.
You know, he came not once, he came in all three videos. It was like, really?
Really?
You abuse this 20-year-old cat, that's meow, meow, meow. So silly, so silly. Anyway, no, it's fun. It's nice to know that other people have pet issues coming
Oh
up.
yeah. Oh yeah. Don't film with babies and with children and animals. That's if you want it to go smoothly, leave the children and the animals out of it. But I love them and I want people to come in and share my life. So I want you to see my family and how much I love my family. I want you to see my animals and how much I love my animals. And I want you to see my quilting and how much I love my quilting. So, that's who I am.
Yeah. What is it? W.C. Fields says never work with children. Like he was just, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
They either steal the show or mess it up.
So, do you put your videos out on a schedule? Like how many a month do you do? How many a week do you do? Like, do you put how do you work your video?
Right. We've had this YouTube channel for about 6 months now. My daughter is my editor. She is a successful graphic designer in Nashville. So we're doing this on her time. And so right now we're getting a video out every 2 to 3 weeks. I'm hoping to get a little bit more of a, a routine down where we get one out every couple of weeks and maybe every week, maybe a short one and then a longer one, something like that. If we can get enough in the bank so that she can just go drop, 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 and it won't take up too much of her time. But right now we're shooting for one every 2 to 3 weeks. So
Yeah, and it's hard too because you're running a drapery business and
drapery business,
time
yep.
management, juggling, and then
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I know.
And when you've got those paying customers that want their things done, you have to put the quilting down and get their things down. You'll hear me say a number of times in my videos, "Oh, I've got to leave my quilting and go back to my drapery business. Darn it."
Yeah. Okay, so have you had any quilt show experience? Like, have you entered any quilts into a quilt show?
I haven't. The idea absolutely mortifies me. But at the same time, you go through and look at those quilts in the quilt show. They're just so gorgeous, and they're such an inspiration. So maybe one day. I'm pretty good at my craft, so maybe one day, maybe one of those that I did for the book will end up in there.
Yeah, that's yeah, I entered my Quilt Canada is coming to Edmonton here this year.
Uh-huh.
And I got talked into entering my Kawandi in. And I'm like,
Yeah.
as an example of maximalism for the Modern Quilt Guild, because I belong
Wow.
to both the Edmonton District Quilt Guild and the Modern Quilt Guild. And yeah, I was like, I thought my brain was going to explode. You want me to enter this guy here, right? This really crazy colored. colorful.
That's beautiful. It's beautiful though.
It's yeah, it is an example, perfect example of maximalism for
Yeah,
folk guild, right? So it's like, okay.
fun. And when does that happen?
I can't remember now. It's June or July, something like that. I have to look on the. I wasn't at the last guild meeting because our
Uh-huh.
daughter,
You run too long, yeah.
my youngest came over for supper, and then she wanted to chat, and it was like, okay, yeah, it's family time, so yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I take
Mm-hmm.
priority over.
Absolutely. Family first.
So,
Well, that'll be exciting. I can't wait to see how you do.
well, it might be just for display purposes only, right? So it might not be judged, which
Right?
might not be a bad thing. There's some things that look great on film, and other things are like,
Mhm.
you had a closer inspection, it's like,
You'd see all the things that you don't want anybody to see. It's like what is that rule? If you pass by a quilt within so many feet and you don't see the mistake, then there's not a mistake.
yeah, very true. That's very true. Yeah, and we're too hard on ourselves. We make
Oh, we
all
are.
judgment things on ourselves. It's like, oh my goodness, yeah.
Hmm.
So, next question I have for you is, what kind of a fiber artist are you? Are you a traditional, a modern, scrappy, like which?
Um, a little bit of everything. I don't think that when I was younger, I was definitely not traditional. Those were old lady quilts. And now I'm really embracing all of those old patterns. And I harken back to those antique quilts that I worked on. You look at it it just inspires you and you love it. So definitely traditional, but I think with maybe of a bit of a modern twist. I love bright colors. So yeah, I really couldn't nail myself down as one or the other. There are
Yeah,
some great modern YouTubers out there that you look at their quilts and you just go, oh, how did you do that?
I know. And they're thinking about it's not just the fabrics we're using, right? I mean, you can get those reproduction Civil War and
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
then the 30s reproductions. You can get all that kind
Right.
of older looking fabric. But yeah, it's the what was it there? I saw the new Libs Elliott line, and she's very much a modern quilt, and hers
Uh-huh.
that line is beautiful and just so simple and just like, oh, it was just lovely, and it was,
Yeah.
it was lovely because of its simplicity, right? It was
Hmm.
flatter, right? But it was the colors and the depth of color, and it was really a
Well,
lovely.
there's so many new processes that they can do they can use to create fabric now. And back 50 years ago, shoot, 20 years ago maybe, they didn't have those processes. So we can really get some gorgeous fabric nowadays.
Yeah, yeah, that's very true. Okay. What or where do you want your channel in the next 2 years? Where do you
You
want?
know, it's funny, I haven't given it a second thought. When we went to start our YouTube channel, where do I want it in a few years? I never even gave that any thought. I'd love to see it grow. I'd love to be able to reach more people. One of the things that I like most about this whole YouTube platform are the comments. I've made friends with people. Rita in uh, in England is a friend of mine now. I love Rita, and
Yeah,
she's a quilter, and she made that quilt after I did a tutorial on it, and she, was emailing me, asking me questions about how to do it, and what size to do this and the other. So that is really exciting to me. So I hope to meet even more people in other countries and around our countries. It's just a lot of fun, and I hope I can reach more people.
yeah, that has been probably, yeah, my thing too. Is like, as long as it's still fun and
Yes.
doesn't become a job.
Hmm.
I retired from a job already. It's just I want something to stay fun. And
Yeah.
it's interesting how we can take our channel and do all sorts of other fun stuff with it. Every once in a while, I get into like make a bag or make a tote,
Yeah,
and I bet you every bag maker out there is just howling with laughter as to how I do things. But
that's okay.
it's
Well,
okay.
I think that one of the things that I've found very startling in making these videos, because I'm like every other 58-year-old woman, or most 58-year-old women, we don't maybe have the best self-image of ourselves. We
Yeah,
don't have the best image of ourselves. And when I look at one of my videos, I don't see a 58-year-old woman with gray hair, a double chin, and sporting at least 20, 30 extra pounds.
yeah.
I see somebody whose eyes are alive with joy and fun, and I'm just having the best time. And I want the people that are watching my videos, I think that's what they have to see. Because if I'm seeing it, you got to see it.
Yeah.
You got to see that I'm having so much fun doing this. So yeah, that's another thing. It was startling to me that I didn't look at the video and go, oh my God, I can't believe I look like that. I don't care. It doesn't matter what I look like. It's the joy in my eyes.
Yeah, my first videos, when you look at me, I look terrified. I'm sweating in my shirt. I'm just like, oh my God, it's horrible.
Yeah.
But you get used to it, and it's yeah, all of a sudden it's fun. It's like,
Hmm.
okay, yeah, this is good.
Having to put the makeup on and do the hair, that's a lot of work for me because
Yeah,
I don't normally come out of the house made up and my hair all pretty. So I have to really think ahead. Am I going to have time to quilt today? Do I need to put some makeup on?
yeah, there's that. Yeah, yeah. Okay, what is your most memorable quilting moment, or the most memorable quilt you worked on, or happy or sad story? Doesn't matter which. Tell us a story about your most memorable quilt moment.
Again, I'm going to harken back to the antique quilts that I got to work on.
Yeah.
There was one in there, and I can't remember. It was actually signed. It was signed to somebody from somebody. I can't remember the guy's name. It was given to a man, and you could just it was so neat because I could look at that and go, okay, was that a sister that made it for him? Was his mom? Was it his wife that made it for him? And you just start telling yourself all these stories of who could that have been? Why did he get that quilt? What did he do with it? How did he store it? Did he use it? Was that on his bed? And so I think working with those antique quilts is probably one of the most memorable. I tell you, and I take that back. The most memorable quilt that I have made, my mom, shortly before, mom's right there, shortly before she passed away, shortly, maybe 6 years before she passed away, she asked me to make her a Southwestern quilt. And it's probably broken every quilting rule there was, but I went to a place called Mary Jo's, which anybody in the Southeast probably that's a quilter probably remembers Mary Jo's in Gastonia, North Carolina. It was a mecca. People came by the busloads from Atlanta and all over the place to go to Mary Jo's quilt store. And I went there and I picked up every Southwestern kind of fabric that I could find and made my mom a very beautiful a quilt. And it now hangs on my wall, so I get to think about her every day when I come in and see
Very
it.
cool. Very cool.
Hmm.
Now, you remember we were trying to the quilt personality that neither one of us, we both know what she looks like. We both know
Right.
the boa, Eleanor Burns.
That's it. That's it. Yep. That's the one I was thinking. That was the mother of the chain piecing.
Yes, that's a very, and I'm like, surely to God, surely to God, we know this. I mean, yeah.
Yep.
So I have fibromyalgia and I have some memory issues as
Mm.
well. And it's like every once in a while, like a name just escapes me. It's like, I don't know why, but yeah,
Hmm.
Eleanor Burns. Yeah, I used
Yep.
to
And
work.
then all of a sudden, it just like a light bulb. It just there it is, right there in your head. Yeah.
Okay.
I do that too.
I think there's a lot of us that do that. Yeah.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
know.
That's those birthdays.
Okay. Favorite tool, favorite quilting tool. What is your favorite tool for sewing, quilting, whatever? What do you love?
So I was thinking about this earlier, and because piecing is really my favorite thing about quilting, so
Yep.
I'd have to say my sewing machine. I have a Pfaff Expression 710. It's got dual feed. It's a great machine. Now, if I'm going small, that guy,
Ah, wow.
I
Yeah,
love this
I've
thing.
seen those, and what a good use of rotary blades that are now kind of.
Yes, and it's so nice when you're chain piecing. Thank you, Eleanor. Just to loop, loop, loop. I love it. So that's my small one. My big tool is my sewing machine.
I've been sewing crumbs.
Yeah.
I've yeah, we're gonna do a series called Crumb Carnage on my channel over a period of, a few months.
Right.
Because I have a lot of crumbs. Mine is a stitch ripper. Always love
Yeah.
a stitch ripper. It's like the eraser of
Mm-hmm.
sewing, right? I mean, yeah,
Hmm.
we're all going to make mistakes when we're sewing, and all of a sudden you get halfway through a block, and you're like, I shouldn't have sewed it that way.
Yep. Or you realize you've sewn it one right side up and one right side down. You're like, what
Or
did I
you,
do?
or you have sewn two pieces on, what two pieces, or one piece
Mm-hmm.
is this way and two pieces are here, and you're
On
like,
top, right.
it ain't gonna work either. Okay. Yeah, mine is a stitch ripper. Mine's pretty basic. Now, since we're winding up here, do you have any tips for beginners? What's your best tip that you can give a beginner?
Have patience and forgive yourself a lot.
Oh, excellent tip.
Yeah.
Uh,
And apart from that, practice, 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 and then practice again.
yeah.
Because
Not
that's the only way you're gonna get better. Take advantage of all these YouTube videos and really there's so many people that give tutorials on simple things like the quarter-inch seam allowance and ironing. Who'd have thought that that would be such a big deal? But guess what? It is. If you iron your block the wrong way, it's not going to be square anymore.
yeah,
And so give yourself credit for what you've done. Give yourself credit for being out there and trying, but just patience.
yeah, and there's a big difference. We're mentioning ironing. There's a big difference
Mhm.
between ironing and pressing. Ironing
Pressing.
this, pressing goes
Hmm.
like this.
Hmm. I asked a good friend of mine, or she's become a good friend of mine now because she's brought me so many quilts to long arm, and I said, "You learned how to iron from the garment industry, didn't you?" She said, "Well, yeah." I said, "Because you're ironing it." I said, You think you're ironing a pair of slacks or something." I said, "You're not. You need to press up and down and gentle with it. Don't go against across the grain. Go with the grain."
Yeah,
And so she was very thankful for that hint.
I see people when they're working with a bias, right? They're just taking it's just
Massacring it.
stretch it and it's like, oh my gosh.
Hmm.
Yeah, like sometimes the bias is so stretched, there's no way you're going to
No
get
way to get it back.
this.
Hmm.
Now what do you do, right? But
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, last words of encouragement to all sewers.
When you make a mistake, learn to forgive yourself. It's your quilt. Who says that's wrong? It's your quilt. You enjoy it. And if all the enjoyment you can get out of your quilt is that you can say, I've learned a lot, then that's all that matters.
Yeah,
So forgive yourself and don't get discouraged. Keep moving forward.
yeah.
It's your quilt. There are no rules.
That's very true. I was at on a Zoom show and tell, and I felt so bad for her. The woman got her friends to hold up her quilt so that the guys that were on Zoom could see it and
Mhm.
the meeting. And as she's talking about her quilt, she's saying, this is the first one I've finally sewed all the blocks the right way. And one of the blocks wasn't going this way, it was going this way. And it was like, and I'm like,
Oh, I did that. Dear, on my Tangled Hearts video, I made the whole quilt And when I set it up on, when I hooked it up onto the wall to look at it and do my exit video, I went, there was one part completely twisted around. It had been, I had pieced it that way. I had quilted it. I never saw it until I put it up on the wall and I went, oh my God, well, that's going to stay there. I was like, hey, let's play Where's Waldo? First person to tell me where the mistake is.
I know, and she had bound it and everything, and she was so proud of it. And it was like, I never say anything. I was just like, okay, somebody's gonna, hopefully, she has a good friend in there that'll take her to the side,
And say,
straighten her crown out, and say, there's a little mistake, but it's okay. We'll fix it. And that's it. That's all she needed at
yep.
this point.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't need somebody going, ha ha ha. It was just,
Right.
oh,
No. Uh-uh.
yeah,
Oh, listen, if you can, that's those who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones, right? We've
exactly.
all made those mistakes. So we should always be kind and generous to one another.
Yeah, and it's mine is always try something new.
Mm-hmm.
You have it.
Mm-hmm.
My arch nemesis color is brown. I don't hate brown. It's just that when I work with brown with other colors, I'm like,
Eh,
no, it's not working for me, right? Like there's
yeah.
something that's really coming together. Yet brown is a very useful color in your
Mm-hmm.
stash, right? If something gets
Mm-hmm.
crazy and too bright, you can throw some brown at it and tone it down,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But yeah, it's really hard for me to work with, and there's no reason for it. So I mean,
You have to challenge yourself to do it.
every once in a while, I'm making a brown quilt just to and I get donations, and of course, a percentage of it is going to be browns.
Brown.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, I better learn how to work with it because you ain't buying it, but yeah, you're.
Right. You're getting it though.
Well,
Well,
Micheline,
I'll think of you next time I go to Faust and start digging through those bins. And when I come across brown, I'll look at it and go, would Brenda use it?
Brenda would use it if it was donated to her. Of course, she would.
Right, right.
Well, this has been so much fun, Micheline. I'm so glad that you agreed to do this with me.
Me
That
too.
it was a lot of fun. It was great to get to know you better too.
It was lovely. It was lovely. I enjoyed it so much. I feel like I've got a new best friend in Canada now.
Yeah, that's cool. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Anyways, everybody else, okay, stay well and take care until we meet each other again. Bye.
Bye.
Hello again. We just want to thank you for enjoying our video and coming along with my husband and my YouTube adventure and quilting, and sometimes things don't work out as best they should, and sometimes they work out great. We're going, wow, that went well. But it's been an amazing journey, and I'm so glad I could share it with you. Share, like, and subscribe these videos. That really helps us out, and it helps us make more charity quilts, okay? So you guys take care until we have a chance to meet again, okay? Bye!